Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Hollywood is kind of losing it because they're producing 5,000 less TV episodes in 1 year. They went from producing about 16,000 episodes in 2022 to 13,000 episodes in 2023. And now they're down to 11,000 episodes from 2024. And this isn't just like it's, oh, California's in trouble. Yeah, California Hollywood production is massively in trouble. There's no question about that. This is overall television production. And think about how much money this is. Disney's always at the high end with their television episode production. We know Marvel shows, Star Wars shows get like literally $25 million per episode. We're not talking about that necessarily because this includes those high budget $25 million per episode, but even the cheaper stuff, even if it was like $1 million per episode, it's still a massive amount of money. Do the math. That's out of the industry, and that's money taken out of the pockets of people that were trying to stay in the industry. This includes sending things overseas. This includes television production throughout the world through Hollywood, even getting the best tax breaks they can possibly get. They're down like a massive amount, a third, roughly speaking, from 16,000 down to 11,000. Coming from The Hollywood Reporter, another sobering snapshot of Hollywood's production decline. And sure, locally in California, it's much worse. From Variety, filming permit applications plummet due to fires, but city is open for business, says Film LA. Yeah, some locations are certainly still open for business, but you can imagine things only just got worse in California. It's not that Netflix isn't doing well. From the Washington Post, Netflix raises prices after a surge in subscribers. Netflix is in a position where they can raise their subscription prices. They're doing that well. And they just added 19 million subscribers in the fourth quarter. So it's not that the industry is doing well. It's that they don't need this production anymore. This is how desperate these guys are. From Variety, Hollywood is now ready to work with Trump. That was quick. Here's what some of them are saying. You didn't hear Biden talking about how to help us. They do need help. That's not a question. They've gone far past the point of just producing things people want to see now. Now this content had better be excellent if people are going to still be able to get jobs in this business. And Luminate is an industry data resource. They give you details on what's going on in the music and the entertainment industry. And they found that the total number of TV episodes produced in 2024 fell by nearly 5,000 episodes compared to just 2 years earlier, that's peak TV, as streaming and broadcast networks curb spending. And they are desperate to put some positive news out there. Netflix is going to be making more content. That's not going to solve this problem, but it's good for Netflix. Netflix is making an absolute fortune on what they're doing. Amazon's Flywheel created a $2.4 trillion company. Netflix's blowout earnings show how the streaming company is replicating the tactic. Netflix has figured out what works for them and for their customers, and they're serving it. The rest of the industry is way behind. In a bit of positive news for those following the film and TV production trend lines, Netflix's executives said on Tuesday that they're planning to up their cash content spending by about $1 billion this year, from $17 billion to $18 billion, as the streaming giant broke records with 19 million quarterly subscriber adds for a total of 302 global members. But increasingly, Netflix is an anomaly in the Hollywood ecosystem, where the divide between the haves and the have-nots has not been growing since the peak TV era ended in 2022. And new research now finds that when adding up all the episodes produced last year, that's 2024, that figure is far lower than it had been just 2 years ago, before the spending pullback and the dual writers and actors strikes in 2023. Some 16,000 total episodes of TV content were produced in 2022, a figure that dropped to 13,300 episodes in 2023 and 11,000 episodes in 2024, according to a new report from data provider Luminate. And if you want to look at the total hours of TV produced, that figure falls from 14,900 hours in 2022 to 10,405 hours in 2024. Among streaming platforms, most of those tracked in the Luminate report saw fewer US-produced TV premieres in 2024 than a year earlier. The exceptions were, of course, Netflix, which saw 146 premieres last year compared to 140 in 2023. Peacock, which increased its premieres from 25 to 36 last year, and Prime Video 39 in 2023 to 42 in 2024. Notably, Disney Plus, as forecast by Bob Iger, slimmed down its original offerings last year as premieres fell from 25 in 2023 to just 9 in 2024 as Disney pushed a larger bundle with Hulu and ESPN Plus. And keep in mind, Disney is the company that seems to be spending absolutely crazily on their budgets. So when you lose a Disney show, you've lost what? The equivalence of several episodes sometimes compared to other people. The only Netflix shows that really have the budget of a typical Disney Plus show is Stranger Things. And that's one of the reasons why Netflix does so much better than Disney when it comes to streaming. Meanwhile, as studios have pulled back from flooding the zone on streaming releases in favor of trying to build scale through targeted bundles like pairing Max with Disney Plus and Hulu, there was a slight uptick in the amount of theatrical product that hit the big screen last year. And that's despite the 2023 strikes delaying some tentpoles from 2024 to 2025. About 121 releases from major studios were sent to theaters in 2024, an increase from 113 a year earlier. While studios sent more features to streaming, the number of streaming-only film debuts fell last year. About 296 movies from major streamers were introduced in 2023. Last year, that figure fell to 264. The data from Luminate gives a wider lens view from the quarterly updates that Permitting Office Film LA has been giving of the Los Angeles County production landscape. Overall shoot days, where they're actually filming projects in LA across film, television, and commercials, fell from 36,000 in 2022 to 23,000 in 2024. And across the US, per the latest PodPro tally in October, production volume dropped 35% in the third quarter of last year compared to 2022. Local production in LA has already plummeted. Shoot days across features, series, and commercials have been trending down for years, but have accelerated in the past 2 years. In total in Los Angeles, production fell about 5% behind the total of even the strike-impacted 2023 figure per Film LA's January 15th account. How can you do less production than when everybody was essentially on strike? That ain't good. And here's how you know there's some real desperation. Hollywood is not so anti-Trump anymore. From Variety, Hollywood is now ready to work with Trump. Quote, "You didn't hear Biden talking about how to help us." And it's true. I mean, he did specifically point out and say, look, we're going to put these ambassadors on the job. Everyone knows who Sylvester Stallone and Jon Voight and Mel Gibson are. And of course, Trump looks at the country. He doesn't want us to lose our Hollywood production. He wants it to be kept in the United States. The way he could potentially do that is through a massive federal tax credit. And I don't think that the federal government should be subsidizing Hollywood. At the same time, the federal government does subsidize a lot of things. So the idea is not to control the productions or not let them make the kind of TV shows or movies that they want to make. But the idea is, look, how do we get together and actually fix this business? Because you guys have run it into the ground. And if the federal government can spend a couple of $2 billion and save the industry and save jobs, maybe they will do that. At least that's how Hollywood is looking at it. Members of the industry's most left-wing contingent in Hollywood, the unions, are privately expressing hope that the president's planned tariffs on imports may cover runaway production. Runaway production are productions that are done outside the United States to get those tax credits that absolutely destroy unions based in the United States because their employees can't get any work. And that also means they're not going to be paying union dues to the union. If Trump does put tariffs on TV and film productions filmed outside the United States, it could create a greater incentive for films in hard-hit places like Los Angeles and Atlanta. Because even though it's more expensive to produce locally, if you have a 25% tariff or something like that, then it's not more expensive to produce locally. One prolific independent film producer says he doesn't care for Trump's politics, but admits that it is refreshing to hear the office of the president focus on how we can get the movie business back on track and back in Los Angeles. This producer made a film released last year chronicling historic events in Los Angeles. Quote, "We had to shoot the whole thing in Bulgaria because it cost half as much. I had to sleep in a stinky hotel and not the house I worked my entire life to buy," he says. You didn't hear Biden talking about how to help us. To numerous power players Variety spoke with, just as staggering as the town's silence over the encroaching Trump effect is the procession of media moguls from Amazon executive chairman Bezos to Disney CEO Bob Iger making the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago or donating to Trump's inaugural fund. After parties for the Golden Globes were abuzz with the news that Prime Video had plunked down $40 million to license a documentary about Melania Trump, to be directed by disgraced filmmaker Brett Ratner, who did get himself in trouble a few years ago, who was accused by 6 women of misconduct in 2017. Quote, Hollywood's lost its nerve, said one chief executive at a media conglomerate. Bezos, who celebrated Joe Biden's 2020 presidential victory over Trump by noting that, quote, unity, empathy, and decency are not characteristics of a bygone era, is believed to have approved the deal. Bezos would have to approve a deal like that not because of the size, but because of the political implications. Reversing allegiances is par for the course in the Hollywood industry. In 2001, Beyoncé performed at George Bush's inauguration with Destiny's Child, only to serenade Barack Obama when the 44th president took office in 2009. The Sopranos star Drea De Matteo says she voted for Biden in 2020, only to go full MAGA in 2024 after becoming disillusioned by the Democrats' push for COVID vaccine mandates. Quote, there's a bit of a shift, De Matteo says, of the town's growing receptiveness towards Trump. Quote, Hollywood is going to fall in line with whatever, because at the end of the day, it's still a huge effing industry, and they still have to make money. Just as pragmatic, Iger must now pay respect to Trump. So too must his former communications czar, Zinnia Muka. The Disney alum, known as Iger's secret weapon for dodging PR imbroglios, is chief brand and communications officer for TikTok and is running strategy behind the scenes. Industry observers could see her fingerprints when TikTok CEO Xiao Chu thanked Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution after the Supreme Court upheld a lower court ruling that bans the China-owned app in the U.S. Quote, the irony of Zinnia, a former C-suite executive of one of the most progressive Fortune 500 companies in the world, and that was Disney, now forced to lobby Donald Trump on behalf of a foreign adversary of the United States, China, is the epitome of the phrase stranger than fiction, according to Chris Fenton, a producer on Iron Man 3, who worked closely with Representative Mike Gallagher, former chair of the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, on the TikTok issue. While the billionaire class is playing nice with Trump, it's unlikely the number of actors who publicly support Trump will expand beyond the small cadre that includes Zachary Levi and Rob Schneider and the 3 ambassadors. However, Roseanne Barr was one of an even smaller group who were vocal about casting their votes for Trump back in 2016. And she believes it got her canceled in Hollywood by none other than Iger, who fired her from her top-rated show Roseanne for what he later called a completely insensitive, completely disrespectful tweet about Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett. Quote, I'm extremely happy that Trump won because I need artistic freedom, Barr tells Variety. And I was always under the assumption that I had that being an American, so I'd like it back. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.